What's up, anime enthusiasts? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for the latest deep dives into your favorite anime shows. Today we have an exciting topic that I know has sparked countless debates among fans: power systems in anime. More specifically, we'll be exploring the Nen system from Hunter x Hunter and why many consider it the pinnacle of power systems. Stick to the end of the video to see my opinion on which power system is the closest to Nen and why. But first up, let's dive into the intricate world of Nen. From its well-defined rules to its individualistic approach, Nen is a power system that never ceases to surprise us. It's a game of strategy, balance, and intellect, where victory isn't always about raw power. I'll be going in depth on why I believe Nen has one of the best, if not the best, claims to be king of the power systems. Now, let's get into the things that make Nen one of the best power systems, if not the best, and also one of my favorites. The Nen system is based on the manipulation of life energy or aura. Its rules are clearly defined with 6 categories of Nen users: enhancer, emitters, manipulator, transmuter, conjurers, and specialist, each well within its own distinct characteristics. Additionally, there are advanced techniques such as Zetsu, Ren, Hatsu that add a further depth into Nen. This well-structured system adds a level of predictability, allowing for strategic planning and avoiding Deus Ex Machina moments where battles are won by maybe unexpected power-ups or new ability. Nen as a technique also reflects the personality and character of the user. This is particularly seen through the use of Hatsu, the unique ability that each Nen user develops. For example, Killua, who has a high background as an assassin and a high tolerance for pain, develops a Hatsu that allows him to transmute his aura into electricity. This adds an extra layer of characterization and makes the battles way more engaging. The system of balance. Nen's system maintains a balance of power between characters. A lower powered character with a clever Hatsu strategy can defeat a stronger opponent. This is in part due to the system of conditions and vows, where a Nen user can increase their power by setting self-imposed restrictions or risks, or maybe just inherent restrictions just based on the power that they developed. This means that battles are not simply contest of who has more power, but also involve strategy and psychological warfare. Consequences. The use of Nen has real consequences. The aforementioned conditions and vows can have serious, even lethal repercussions for the user. Overuse of Nen can drain life energy and lead to exhaustion or death. This adds an element of risk and tension to Nen battles and means that characters have to consider the potential cost of overusing their powers. Versatility. Because of its complexity and personal nature of the Hatsu, the Nen system allows for a huge variety of abilities. This means that every Nen battle is unique and can be unpredictable, keeping the audience engaged and on their toes. Keep in mind, I will be giving many more examples in the upcoming sections of this video as to why Nen is the best, or maybe one of the best. These reasons contribute to why many Hunter x Hunter fans and critics appreciate the Nen system. It provides a solid framework for exciting and unpredictable battles, but also allows for deep characterization and strategic depth. But stay with me now. How does Nen stack up against other renowned power systems in the world of anime? We'll be doing a deep dive comparison of Nen against 5 major power systems. Let's go. Before we start, I'd like to divide each power system that I will be comparing to Nen into 5 different categories. The first category being the nature of the power systems, where I just explain what the power systems are, how they're explained to us as readers, and whatnot. Next, I'll be grading them. I'm not grading them per se, but just comparing them to Nen in terms of complex and consistency, individuality and characterization, balance of power and strategy, limitation and consequences. And those are the 4 that I'll be using to compare to Nen and to just make a case why Nen might be the best, or one of the best power systems in anime. First and foremost, we start with Chakra from Naruto. It's a system that's given us some of the most exciting battles in anime history, but doesn't match the strategic depth and consistency of Nen. Nen is the life energy produced by all living bodies, vital for survival. I've made that clear. It's a technique that allows a person to use and manipulate their own life energy, known as aura. For example, Gon, the protagonist, is an enhancer, so his nen abilities are straightforward and determined, just like his personality. Chakra in Naruto, used on the other hand, is energy that's used in ninja arts. It's nearly every ninja can use it. In fact, every ninja can use it. I was thinking about Rock Lee, but he can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu. Doesn't mean he can't use chakra. So every ninja can use chakra, and it's an energy used in ninja arts. It's created within the cells of the body by combining spiritual and physical energy. Naruto Uzumaki, for instance, the protagonist, has a massive amount of chakra due to just being the Jujutsu of Naito's and being an Uzumaki. Now let's start with complexity and consistency. The Nen system has 6 types: enhancer, emitter, transmuter, conjurer, manipulator, and specialist, each with distinct abilities and characteristics. The concept of conditions and vows adds another layer of strategic depth. For example, Kurapika sets a condition that his Changel technique can only be used on members of the Phantom Troop, which makes him more powerful, but comes with the blowback of him using it against anybody else will result in him dying. Chakra, while having its own unique complexity with hand signs and different types of jutsu like ninjutsu, genjutsu, and chaijutsu, it sometimes exhibits inconsistency. For example, my guy depicted as someone who can only use taijutsu due to his inability to use ninjutsu and genjutsu, but we later see him using summoning techniques, which are a form of ninjutsu. Next, we'll go into individuality and characterization. Nen abilities are deeply personal, reflecting the personality and character of the user. Killua, for example, I will use him again for example because Killua is probably the best example for this category. Uses electricity in his Nen abilities, a reflection of his shocking upbringing, literally and figuratively, and capacity for danger. Chakra abilities can also be unique, like the Sharingan for the Uchiha clan or the Byakugan for the Hyuga clan, but these are often inherited or taught and not necessarily indicative of the user's personality. Next, we'll go into balance of power and strategy. Nen battles often involve a strategic depth where a weaker character can defeat a stronger one. Gon was able to defeat Gentoo, who was clearly stronger and more experienced, by strategizing and using a trap. Or maybe Killua not being able to defeat the Knap Camera and sometimes his Yuppie, but still being able to match up to him in terms of speed just because of his unique Nen ability, Godspeed. In Naruto, the battles do involve strategy, but most of the times they often escalate to massive displays of just pure and raw strength and power, like Naruto's battle with Pain, or literally Madara's battle against the 5 Kage. They had better strategy than him, they had everything. But the fact of the matter is, Madara was simply just too overpowered compared to what they were working with at that time. Let's move on to limitations and consequences. The use of Nen comes with real risk and consequences. Gon overuses his Nen to defeat Neferpitou and suffers severe consequences, bringing him to his deathbed, and subsequent unuse of Nen in the future when he does survive. Chakra use also has limits, but the consequences are not nearly as consistently enforced. For instance, Naruto often overuses his chakra, but he's usually able to bounce back due to Nine Tails. Or maybe, especially later in the series, nearly every character has insane chakra reserves, so they never really run out of chakra. Especially characters like Naruto, Sasuke, Madara, Kaguya, all of those characters. Those there are the reasons why that's just a direct comparison of Nen and chakra. You can make a claim for which one is better. I'm trying to be as biased, but at the same time not as biased as I can be, making a case for Nen while at the same time making a case for the others and just comparing them. You can make your case on which one you believe is stronger or better. Okay, next we'll sail into the world of One Piece to examine Haki. I love saying it like that. A latecomer to the series, Haki brought a whole new dimension to the fights, but does it really offer the same level of personalization and predictability as Nen? Of course, we'll start with the nature of the power system. I think I already explained Nen, so I'm not going to go into Nen that much, but I'll explain Haki. Haki is a mysterious power that resides in every living being in the world of One Piece. It's not always accessible, but those who manage to tap into it can enhance their physical abilities and senses. These are three types. There are three types of Haki: observation, which basically enhances your perception skills, and there's subsets of observation like advanced observation, which basically gives you future sight, being able to see how many seconds into the future, or predicting abilities and stuff like that, sensing emotions. And another subset of observation is voice of all things, which allows you to talk to animals and animate things that have voices. You have armament Haki, which basically helps you to coach your muscles of your fist and with Haki, and increases your power, your punching power, your abilities. And there's even an advanced subset of armament that's called Rio, which is basically punching without touching. Like, that's really all it is. But these are extremely strong attacks. And then there's Conqueror's Haki, which basically the ability to exert your will over others. This is a limitation of One Piece because only those born with Conqueror's Haki can use it. You have to be born a king, basically king's aura. You have to be born with kingly intentions to be able to use it and access it. Next, we'll go on to complexity and consistency. The Nen system is known for its complexity and consistency. The system has defined rules, restrictions that are constantly applied throughout the series. On the other hand, though, Haki while having its own unique appeal, is relatively simpler and was actually introduced mid-series. Its rules and limitations aren't as clearly defined or consistently applied, because there are always new things being added, such as future sight being added in like the Just Rosa arc. Or maybe the recent chapters, if manga spoilers here, Shanks being able to use such a thing as Conqueror's Killer, where he basically can use his own ability Haki to negate other observation Haki. Next, we'll dive into individuality and characterization. Nen abilities are deeply personal. I've already went into that. Khan's Jajanken is a reflection of his straightforward and determined personality. Haki can vary in strength between individuals. Its forms are generally the same among all users, observational armaments, some users being able to use all three, such as Luffy, Boa, Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, Ace, Shanks, Roger, Katakuri, and others, with some people only being known to use one, like armament, or one like observation, and some people being able to use both. Using all three is very rare, and Conqueror, I can't remember what the official stats were. I don't want to go look it up right now, but it said that Conqueror's Haki users are 1 in a million or 1 in 10 million, something like that. But this leaves less room for individualization or characterization, since we all know which abilities they're gonna use. Even if they were to level up, Oda as a author is not somebody that goes too much, even as creative as he is, that goes too much into using Haki for extra purposes. Next, we'll go into balance of power and strategy. Both Nen and Haki allow for strategic depth in battles. However, Nen arguably provides more balance and strategy due to its systems of conditions and vows, where a Nen user can increase their power by setting self-imposed restrictions and risks. Once again, the Kurapika example, or maybe the Killua example. Haki also involves strategy, but often it just comes down to who has stronger Haki, especially in the case of armament and Conqueror's Haki. In the fight in Luffy versus Kaido, the first time they met, Kaido's Conqueror's Haki was just better, and Luffy got one-shotted. Simple as that. Luffy took a couple chapters for Luffy's armament Haki to level up to the point where he could mix his armament and Conqueror's Haki to be able to fight off Kaido. In the first battles against Katakuri, Luffy's observation Haki wasn't up to standard, and guess what? He got whacked by Katakuri in the beginning until his eyes started catching up to Katakuri's movements and eyes as well. But in general, while Haki is a fascinating power system with its own unique strength, some fans most definitely prefer Nen due to its complexity, consistency, and individuality. And it just comes down to the strategic depth provided by the concept of limitations, conditions, and vows. One Piece fandoms, please don't kill me. I'm trying to be biased, but not biased. Now, our third contender, which is I'm pretty sure will surprise a lot of people, is Alchemy from Fullmetal Alchemist. Alchemy deeply integrated into its world society and offers its own unique appeal. But does it provide the same level of character exploration that Nen does? Let's find out. I've already talked about Nen, not going too much into that for the nature of the power systems, but in Alchemy, of course, a power system in Fullmetal Alchemist, is a mystical science combining magical concepts and chemistry. It's a technique that lets the user manipulate and alter matter by using their own natural energy. That's just the nature of the power system. While Nen is known for its complexity, of course, with the 6 categories, I already said that. Alchemy, while also complex, leans more on the scientific side, which leads to more limitations in how complex and consistent it could be. Now, that's kind of a paradox, because you would think, okay, scientific, that means more, but when we're talking about fantastical animes, fantasy worlds, less science inclined you are, and more magic inclined you are, the more complex you can actually be. Let's just take the principle of equivalent exchange, which is constantly applied throughout the series, such as when Edward Elric loses his arm to bring his brother Alphonse's soul back. That's more on the scientific side. Point taken. Now let's focus on the individuality and characterization. Nen abilities are deeply personal and reflective of the user's character. For instance, the Biscuit Kruger ability, Cookie-chan. I'm not going to get too much into that as well, but I'll focus on Alchemy. Alchemy, while unique to each alchemist, like Roy Mustang's Flame Alchemy or Alex Lewis Armstrong's Strong Alchemy, is often based more on your knowledge and training than individual personality traits. So somebody who's happy-go-lucky can use an ability that's maybe you would consider somebody who's more stout and serious should use. Next, let's talk about the balance of power and strategy. Of course, I already talked about Nen. Hatsu, while playing strategy, always most likely leads to wins. But Alchemy also involves strategy. But I've watched it, and the only thing I can say about the strategy in Alchemy is that the scale of power can differ significantly based on the alchemist's knowledge and skill level. That's all it is. Now let's talk about limitations and consequences. I already explained that in Nen. So in Alchemy, the only limitation and consequence that I would say is the law of equivalent exchange, which is a crucial limitation. And just like I said, the more you lean to science, the higher the consequences be. Now this is a category I think I might give to Alchemy, because one cannot gain something without giving something of equal value in return. When the Elric brothers attempt human transmutation to bring their mother back, a forbidden act, they pay a heavy price. I'm not gonna get into the price, but go watch the anime or read the manga, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's my comparison of both Alchemy and Nen. Alchemy is very low under the radar when it comes to power systems, but I'm pretty sure it's probably one of the best ones, just based on the fact that it's rooted in science. So it's consistent. It doesn't leave much for character exploration, but it is consistent just based on the fact that it's based on science. Now, we'll transition to Nen versus Quirks. Now, that's a lot of people's favorites. I really don't know why. I don't really think it's kind of a power. It's like really a power system, because it's basically predetermined by your birth. But let's get into it. At least Haki, you can learn and observation. You can't learn conquerors, but you can learn the other two. You can be masters of the other two. But okay, let's get into it. Finally, Quirks are undoubtedly unique and creative, but can they really compete with the growth and evolution that we see in Nen and characters? I'm not going to get into the nature of the power system of Nen. I will get into nature and quirks. Quirks in My Hero Academia are superhuman abilities that a person is born with. Each quirk is unique to the individual, like Sui Asui, who has a frog quirk, which gives her the ability similar to a frog. I chose Sui because hers is probably the easiest to explain. Or maybe Todoroki, Shoto Todoroki, who has the quirk Ice Hot, Icy Hot? Yeah, basically, part of his body is ice, part of his body is hot. Simple as that. Now let's get into the complex and consistency of quirks. Quirks are while unique and diverse, are way simpler in comparison. Each character's quirk is different, and they do have limitations which are introduced later in the series. But in terms of complexity and consistency, I would say it doesn't hold a candle to Nen, not even close, in my opinion. Let's get into individuality and characterization. Quirks can be unique and sometimes do reflect the user's character, like maybe Bakugo's explosive quirk, mirroring his hot-headed personality, or Todoroki's icy hot, mirroring his internal hotness but also his outside calm. They are often a result of inherited traits and are not necessarily indicative of the user's personality or character traits. Like Izuku Midoriya, he wanted a quirk so much, wanted to be a hero, couldn't get it, didn't get a quirk. Simple as that, he was given a quirk. Let's get into balance of power and strategy. Quirks, while also involving strategy, can sometimes lean towards power imbalances, with certain quirks being inherently stronger than others. Another one I'll use, Todoroki's half cold, half hot. We see this in the tournament arc. I can't remember the first one, the hero tournament arc. I can't remember what it was called. Todoroki, for the first couple matches, just simply outclassed his opponents, just based on the fact that his quirk was stronger than theirs. Even no matter how they used their quirk, his was stronger. As simple as that. Now, limitations and consequences. Now, this is a category that's very similar between Nen and quirks, because we have seen quirks lead to body-breaking injuries, especially with Midoriya. We can also seen it lead to degradation of the soul of the body, exactly, in just a way. And I think if I was to give this one, I still give it to Nen, just because there are more instances of characters showing these limitations and consequences. Once again, Kurapika and Gon, those two are probably my greatest ones. Or Killua with his Godspeed, and I'll be able to use Nen like for a couple minutes after he uses Godspeed. Those are just my main ones. Finally, this is my last one. Let's delve into, and I had to cover it just because I know they would go crazy on me if I didn't. Dragon Ball and its power system. Ki is undoubtedly unique and creative, but can it compete with Nen? Let's see. Ki in Dragon Ball is the fighting power and life of each, a tangible energy inside every living being, with its major focus being in combat and movement. Now let's move on to complexity and consistency. Ki, while a fundamental aspect of the Dragon Ball series, is way simpler than Nen. It's primarily used to increase the power of attacks, to fly, and to power up. However, the rules around Ki are not stated or defined, or are they consistently applied. For instance, power levels were measured by scouters early in the series, but were later just disregarded, even by characters who couldn't scout power systems, who couldn't understand powers. And there's power auras and powers in the overall Ki level, but somehow they were just able to magically understand it. I don't really get into that, but that's another reason. Ki abilities can be unique, like Goku being synonymous with Kamehameha or Vegeta being synonymous with Galagun. The techniques learned from taught or learned from others, which is also the case with Goku, learning it from Kamehameha from Master Roshi, or Trunks learning Masenko from Piccolo. These techniques don't necessarily reflect the user's personality or their character traits. Let's go to balance of power and strategy. Battles in Dragon Ball often come down to he deliver a stronger attack. Simple as that. Goku often defeats his enemies by outlasting them or delivering a powerful Kamehameha blast. Take Goku versus Kefla. Simple as that. He didn't have full mastery of his Ultra Instinct. So what did he do? Put a Kamehameha straight to the face. An attack that he knew with his Ultra Instinct ability was stronger than the resistance to his attacks. Simple as that. Or with mirrors just being able to destroy. Do you know how insane that is? Anyway, Gojo versus Goku. Stop it. Just stop. Please, Jesus, stop. Damn. Anyway, let's go to limitations and consequences. Ki literally has no. I'm sorry. I don't even know what you want me to say for this section. Ki has no consequences, no limitations, nothing, nada. Literally, get a senzu bean. Your ass is okay. You have no consequences or comparisons. But anyway, that's my comparison of Nen to each of the major power systems. I will not mention spiritual pressure from Bleach, as it's kind of similar to Dragon Ball, and most of the arguments made for Dragon Ball can be applicable to pressure. But now I'll give you guys what I believe is the closest to Nen, and actually might be the closest competitor for the title of King of the Power Systems. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you a hint. It's New Gen. Let's talk about Cursed Energy from JJK or Jujutsu Kaisen. The nature of Cursed Technique is the negative energy that humans emit, often shaped by strong negative emotions. For example, Sukuna, one of the most powerful curses, embodies fear and hatred, two of the most strongest negative emotions, which therefore cements his power as the strongest curse in history. Now let's go to complexity and consistency. Cursed energy has various layers of complexity, including cursed techniques, domain expansions, and cursed objects. For instance, Satoru Gojo's limitless cursed technique, which manipulates space at an atomic level, is a testament to the use of Gege Akutami's theater use of actual real-life physics. Or maybe his six eyes, which basically allows him to perceive the world in all its nakedness. Literally, he can see everything about the world. Let's testament to how complex it can really be. And let's go to individuality and characterization. Mahito's idol transfiguration, which manipulates the shape of souls, reflects his twisted view on the value of human life and his sadistic tendencies. Simple as that. Sukuna's ability, cleave and dismember, I think that's what it's called, both also mirror his personality for destruction and death. Has no regard for human life, and is therefore willing to kill whoever or whatever stands in his way. Simple as that. Or Hikari's, not just manga spoilers, Hikari's power, which is basically mirrors his love for gambling and betting. Simple as that. Not too much into it, but it does focus on individuality and characterization, where most techniques often correlate with the user's personality and tendencies. A balance of power and strategy. Now, in this regard, I think Jujutsu Kaisen actually beats Nen, just because, to take an example of Nanami being able to hold his own against Mahito by calculating and exploiting the latter's weakness, showcasing the strategic depth of the cursed energy battles. Or take Gojo being sealed by Kenjaku, just because Kenjaku was able to understand Gojo's eyes and being able to use that ability against him. Simple as that. Or maybe, who else would I be able to use for an example? There are multiple fights in JJK that I can use for an example. I just don't know why it's not off the top of my head now. But just being able to seal Gojo was inherently stronger than anybody in that train station. This should be an arc. But he still lost just because they were able to understand his curse technique and use it against him. Simple as that. It does delve into a deeper level of technique that maybe even Nen doesn't encapsulate, and that's just one of the beauty of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now let's talk about limitations and consequences. Misuse of cursed energy can lead to devastating backlash. One example of this is Toge Inomaki and his cursed speech. Like most curse techniques, overusing cursed speech takes a physical toll on the user's body. The stronger the words used, the worse the side effects are. Making simple words like stop cannot really affect them, but imagine if he was to tell somebody to die, it would probably lead to him. He might die as well. But anyway, the stronger the words used, the worse the side effects are. In the worst case scenario, the cursed speech could backfire on the user and result in sword coughing of blood and or losing his ability to speak, from what we've seen so far, which there could be more in the future. We don't know. Or maybe Gojo overusing his six eyes, which can make it probably lead him to blindness, just being able to perceive the world at all times, with him needing to blindfold his eyes. Or maybe in his domain expansion, Infinite Void, which I'm pretty sure it's called, which basically gives anybody caught in the void the ability to process everything every time. But do you not understand the limitations of being able to see the complexities of everything at every time? Nobody's brain can process information that fast. Simple as that. But by going in depth into these points, it becomes evident that both Nen and cursed energy offer more than just power-ups or flashy battles. They both serve as devices to explore the characters' personalities and the consequences of their choices, making both systems uniquely engaging and rewarding the viewer with multiple conversations on how which character can win. This is something I've witnessed personally. I have a person that I'm commenting, that one of my commenters, that me and him have been going not even back and forth, but having a conversation on how current fights in JDK will play out, just based on the fact that there's so many things that Gege can use to make sure a fight ends well. In conclusion, power systems in anime have a profound impact on the series' overall narrative, the character development, and the viewer engagement. Comparing Nen from Hunter x Hunter to other power systems such as Chakra from Naruto, Ki from Dragon Ball, Quirks from My Hero Academia, Alchemy from Fullmetal Alchemist, Haki from One Piece, and cursed energy from JJK, we see a wide range of approaches to this concept. Nen does stand out due to its complexity, individual strategic depth, and the concept of conditions and vows. It offers a perfect blend of flexibility and limitations, allowing for creative abilities that reflect each character's individuality while maintaining a high level of strategic depth and consequence. Chakra, Ki, and Haki, while embodying important thematic elements in their respective series, tend to be less complex and less individualized compared to Nen. Quirks and Alchemy, while also offering a fascinating array of abilities, may lack the same level of strategic depth and direct characterization provided by the Nen system. On the other hand, cursed energy from JDK emerges as a significant contender from Nen due to its similar complexity, individuality, and the strategic depth, making them two of the strongest candidates for the title of King of the Power Systems. However, the best power system ultimately comes down to individual preferences in the context of the narrative each system is a part of. Each of these power systems contributes significantly to the building, character development, and thematic richness of the respective series, making them all uniquely engaging in their own right. That's it for me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed my video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Help me keep these videos going. If you want me to do a video on how JJK and so stacks up to other power systems, don't forget to leave that comment down below, and I'll get right on it for y'all. Thank you. Have a nice day.